So today I'm joined here by Kate Schnetzer, and super excited to have you here, Kate, because you have been crushing it in the Art of Sales chat. I've seen you land deals left and right, 25K deals here, 30K deals here. It's just been so consistent and so incredible to see your journey. So what I'm curious about is, where are you at now in terms of your agency? And just kind of walk us through basically what your agency looks like at the current moment.
Sure. So since I joined Art of Sales, it's pretty much just kind of taken off. It took a little bit of time just to get things set up, and then it just kind of exploded from there. So I think last month I had a 10K month. Our goal for March, this December, was to get to 30K, and it looks like we're on track to get to there in the next week if everybody pays like they're supposed to. Our run rate close to mid six figures because our pricing's kind of, it's staggered how we price our services, and we do everything in-house, so we get to keep most of it except for just kind of our general overhead. And yeah, I went from pretty much just playing at it and just being all over the place. I'd have like 1K months and 8K months and $500 months to I think we calculated a 380% increase just last month. So I don't know what we'll be at this month, but we'll probably stop calculating at that point. It's yeah, and it's just like, it's ironic because it just seems to get easier and easier, which I never thought that was even possible.
Yeah. So, that's insane too, because I remember you just joined Art of Sales. I think it was like 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And you were just doing your first closing call around that time as well.
Yeah.
So what was it was around August, September when you joined?
Yeah. So I joined, I think it was technically, I started maybe like September 1st, and not even all the stuff was in the course yet. Because everybody it was just kind of getting built out and like added to. So I think we're just doing like 1 call a week, and like it was just a fraction of even what it is now. And but I did almost everything, I can't say everything, but almost everything that Robb said to do as best as I could. It wasn't like I wasn't perfect at it or like 100% consistent with it, but I just did it. And it wasn't like overnight. I started seeing results, but it was pretty freaking fast. And like basically within like 2 weeks, I started seeing leads. And then, but I didn't, like they were just crap leads because I was just figuring out how to like hone it in, but I kept coming to the calls and asking more questions, getting more advice, and then just tweaking. And now it's like every lead that comes in almost is like qualified for the most part, or I have a feeling we'll stay in relationship with them, and they still check in with us even if we didn't close. We have fun on the sales calls. I don't know. It just was from following instructions and then just getting the feedback, and the feedback loop is really important because if you don't have somebody to kind of check in with what you're doing, it doesn't. I don't know. You can't make the adjustments that you need. But yeah, it was like, I was surprised how quickly it just kind of all turned around, and it started actually functioning like the business that I knew that it could be. I just didn't know how to get it there.
Okay. So when was it that you landed your first client?
Well, so I've had this business for a year and a half, but they all came to me. It was just like word of mouth, referrals, osmosis. However, and I would take whatever people, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do these things for you. And, it was like, I wasn't really treating it like a scalable, like business or agency. I was just kind of like almost treating it like a freelancer. But that's not what I wanted. I just didn't know like how exactly to fix it. So once I started doing what Robb said, it was probably 3 or 4 weeks in. I think I had my first client. I'd have to look at it, but it was pretty fast. And since then, like our closing rate's gone up significantly. We've been raising our rates. And we've been just kind of demanding different things, like not as many payment plans for setup fees, and like everything that we, every week it just gets better on what we can offer and what we can get clients to agree to. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, so basically your first client was around the October time, and now it's accelerated, it sounds like, because now we're in mid-December. So it's been about 2.5 months since then.
Yeah.
So what's sort of the evolution that's taken place since October and September?
Yeah. So I actually had to stop prospecting 2 weeks ago because we're like where we're onboarding too many clients at one time, and I need more people on the fulfillment end. Don't tell Rob we said that. So I actually had to stop prospecting. I have to turn it back on now. I've got things in place, but because so anyway, so what happened was, so like I joined the program and just kind of started figuring it out. Honestly, like I had been following Robb for like a while, for probably a year, but in digital marketing, I believe about 20% of the things that I hear from people, because there's a lot, everybody has a course and everybody has a program and everybody has this. And so I'm just like, we'll see, but I'll give it a try. Cause like, to me, I liked what Robb had to say, and I liked how he thought about things. And I didn't think he was like the perfect, he wasn't putting himself up as like this big guru, which I appreciated. That he was just giving us actionable things to do and to just take imperfect action on. So I just started doing those things. Immediately started kind of seeing some leads trickle in. Then within probably a month, I could see that I actually would have like consistent lead flow. Like I could predict like, okay, I have 2 to 5 leads coming from LinkedIn. So I set up my LinkedIn automation. I did set up cold email, but from LinkedIn. I did try cold calling. I set up like VAs, how he said to do it. I kind of just set up all of these automated systems, but every day I just dedicated this particular time to doing these things. I dedicated time to learning how to close, even though I would say I'm still not that great at it. I would kind of chip away at it. And then he would just keep saying, just like, it's just these little steps you have to do, and then it's going to pay off, which I just always, before that, I just kind of would I'd read something about sales, and then I would try it on a sales call, and then I would be like, oh, that didn't work because I didn't close them, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep doing this thing because I've dedicated myself to this process, and I'll give it a try. And I just kept doing what he said. And then all of a sudden we were like closing people, and like, all of a sudden we had a lead flow and a pipeline, and then we were closing people. And then all of a sudden, like, I blinked, and now we almost have too many clients. So I have to hire more people, and I had to stop prospecting a little bit just to kind of like slow it down, which that literally just happened in basically a quarter. I mean, 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
So I never thought that would happen.
Right. Because how many clients are you working with now?
I think we're at 13 clients, and then we also have 2 6-figure deals, 2 6-figure contracts, and then we got one white label partnership. So we're taking over agencies. They're a lead generation agency, so they just do all outreach and managed service, and we're taking over all of their clients' content. So that could be anywhere from 25 to 50 clients in the next quarter, and then any additional clients that they have.
Okay.
So that's kind of where we started freaking out. So I don't know how much that deal is going to even end up being. It's just going to be insane. Yeah. So we've got it where we can keep scaling at the price point that we're at. But yeah, for a little bit, I just didn't expect it to happen that fast. I thought we had like a year to get to that point.
Right. So what I'm curious about though is, because you're at a point where you hit 30K this month, you're at a 6-figure run rate, mid 6-figure run rate. Yeah. At the same time, you have a family and you're a mom, right? Because you had to pick up your kids right before we're talking right now. So how do you balance all of that, running this business and balancing your family lives?
It's hard. You just kind of, you have to have, I think you have to have a family who's like understanding of entrepreneurship and who can be flexible, but then you just have to multitask as much as possible. My family understands that it's a hustle and that it's for the good of the family. It won't be forever, but I do work a lot. But I'm building out systems that will make it so I don't always have to be at the helm. So, I'm building out the right teams, the right people, the right, systems. And that's one of the things that, like, I was always a systems person, but I just never thought about systems in the way that Robb thinks about systems with sales. And even just systematizing that has taken a ton off of my plate. So I'm just, as I'm even building out and trying to find ways to scale, I'm trying to making sure that I'm setting it up in ways that I can step out easily over time. So I don't know that there's a balance. I think it's juggling and doing the best you can and trying to be when you're with your family or, a loved one, that you're just with them. And when you're doing the business, you're 100% on the business.
Right. It's, I suppose, more about understanding than just having like the work-life balance kind of like can be a fallacy sometimes when it comes to entrepreneurship. Because it's really about having people in your life that really understands where you're coming from. And that appreciate basically what you're doing, because you're building it up for your family, you're building it up for your future. And so that's a really meaningful, impactful endeavor. And I had another question as well. So what does your day-to-day look like typically? Because it sounds like mostly, you're mostly spending time on your agency, but then you also have to pick up your kids. You have to drop them off for school, things like that. So what does your day-to-day look like?
Yeah. So I wake up at 5. I caffeinate immediately because I have to. But I do some time with myself. So I'll do a little bit of journaling, which I would like to say is some like internal reflection time, but it's usually I'm like writing out what the day is going to look like and what I'm excited about work. I'm like not very good at internal reflection, but that's okay. And then I just have some time to myself. I'll read a little bit. Usually have a business book or a podcast just to kind of get revved up. Then I wait to start kid wrangling, and we do, breakfast and make sure the homework's done, take them to school, do all of that. And that's about 7:30. Come back. I'm back in the office at 8. And then I usually take team meetings, do anything that I need to do. I like to do all sales calls or discovery calls in the mornings, because that's when I'm freshest. Or I like to also do like live streams, or like if I'm doing video with me in it where I need to be fresh. That's when I like to do those. So do anything that I need to make money or could possibly make me money or help build the company creatively, I do in the morning. I don't usually take lunch. I usually take some sort of networking meeting over lunch, and then afternoons for clients. So that's when I'll meet with clients. I usually oversee the creative for the clients, like, branding and their websites and their video and editing and things like that. So I do those in the afternoons. And I try to get out of the office by 6. So if I have to go pick up my kid, I'll go pick him up, bring him back, get back in the office, then leave the office by 6. After I get him to bed, then I usually spend another 2 hours just on whatever stuff. I usually do it from bed. Usually it's like creative stuff, all snuggled up, and that's my day. And that's usually 7 days a week. So
yeah. And I think that's incredible too, because I think that's really the main thing that I see that distinguishes people who are successful with their agencies versus those who are never really able to get it off the ground, is having a process, a routine, something that works for them, and also setting aside time for income producing activities. Because I know myself, I've been in a place where I really didn't feel like prospecting, but because I have a process in place, it just kind of compels me to do that, because I'm pulled towards that. That's part of my process, my routine, my ritual. So it sounds like you have the same sort of thought process.
Right? Yeah, like I got a prospect now. It's prospect.
Yeah, exactly. It's like power hour. Like you got to reach out to like 100 prospects for the day, or whatever that number is. And yeah, it's just like getting it done.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, what would be your advice? Like, there's probably people that are going to be watching this that either are still trying to get to 10K per month, or they're still trying to even get their first client. So what would be your advice for that person?
Consistency. I think every single day you need to be working on prospecting, sales, having sales conversations, getting on the phone and going after the no's. Like I was so sensitive about that before because like a lot of people like they have agencies that they're having other people do fulfillment. So it's not quite, it's personal to them, their business. But like for me, it's like if somebody says no to me, it's like they're saying no to like my work. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I just took it to like personal. So I was scared to go for the no. Now I've separated myself from it. So I think getting on the phone, just reaching out to people as much as possible, but tweaking it, keeping track of the numbers is really important. Like I couldn't tell you what any of my like close rates were, like how many prospects, like how many people I had coming in, how many like people I could get on the phone with. I had no idea, because I wasn't doing any of it. Right. So I think keeping track of that and then tweaking it. But I think having somebody here's the thing about online business. So I had a brick and mortar business before this that I closed. It didn't do well at first. I kind of pulled it out of the gutter. That's where I learned marketing and kind of like some like guerrilla tactic, like social media stuff that I do now. But in like this brick and mortar business world, like everybody knew like you have a small business mentor, right? Like you have somebody who helps you, like you go, like there's like the small business association, there's all of these like things, there's all these ways to get help. But I think with the online business world, especially in digital marketing and MMA, there's courses, but there's nobody really teaching you how to like do this piece, to like get off the ground and get to a place that's sustainable. They're just, it's like business coaching and business consulting, but like you need to implement these pieces to get to one client, to get to 10K. Like if you don't implement these pieces, you're just going to struggle to get there. But if you follow an actual system and just do it, tweak it as you go, like you can actually get there. Like I've seen just so many other programs. I bought a couple that were pretty much just awful. I mean, they're like, I don't understand how anybody could make any money from it. Mm. But that's what I liked about this program is that you have the mentorship. They actually give you a system, like not just like you should go set up your lead generation systems. Like it's like, go and do this, set it up this way, and then every day at this time, you're going to go do this, and then you just do it. And then you're going to come report back to the group and report back to the coaches. So I think having a system that you can follow, that you believe in, that you can do, that's practical for you, and then mentorship to help you along the way can help you get off the ground and get you to where you need to be. Because if you're not there, you're probably not going to get there on your own. Very quickly. You're probably going to struggle, and digital marketing there's a lot, it's very saturated. You really need the tools to do it right if you want to succeed in it. Otherwise you're going to keep spinning your wheels.
100%. Yeah, I definitely agree with that advice. And it's really insightful that you brought up the part about, you really have to have that system in place, especially for client acquisition. And a lot of people discount the importance of having a proper prospecting or sales process in place that you can go to every single day and then hit your numbers and be able to report back and then get feedback on that and then reiterate. That's really the process that it takes to be successful. And it's kind of like a water well where you're pumping water up the well, but then a lot of people stop at like 80% or like 70%. And they don't realize that, they're 20 or 30% just, they could go 20 or 30% further, and now they've got their first client. Now they have momentum, which is, I think, what you found as well, from what it sounds like, is that you had that first client. Now it becomes real because it's like you've gotten it from cold traffic. It's like you've acquired that client, and then now you can systematize and automate that. I think another, I'm curious to know what you think about this as well, but a lot of people also try to automate or systematize things that don't necessarily work. and they just kind of like, they think about systems, which is the right way to think, but only if you have a proof of concept. So I find that that's another drawback a lot of times when people try to teach client acquisition or how to start an agency, things like that. Because I've been through a fair share of courses as well. Yeah. So I understand how that is.
Yeah, I think, yeah, well, and I think too, it's like everybody's a little bit different, right? So that's an interesting thing about like art of sales. So like there's different people in there, and agency in a box too. You know, people doing different things, different types of fulfillment models, maybe different focuses, different niches, but you could, no matter what, you could come in and kind of show it, you know, this is my messaging, or these are my numbers. Like, how is everybody else's numbers? And then you'd see what everybody else's numbers were, but then you'd have coaches who were experienced in those different areas, like there'd be ads people who were used to marketing to coaches, which is kind of my niche, like people who had these different areas of expertise. So it wasn't like totally the blind leading the blind, and saying like, like that's on par, like you should adjust this. Why don't you go try this? And so it was nice because it felt like I wasn't just throwing spaghetti at the wall. Like some of it's testing. You just got to test some stuff and get some numbers, get some trends. But it was nice to actually have, I'm not just putting a system in place because a blog told me to, like, go set up a lead generation system on LinkedIn. Like we're doing this, and then we're following up with it every week, and we're tweaking it, and we're looking at it, and other people are looking at it, and we're analyzing it. And I think that that's a really important piece, because when you're new to it, when you're new to understanding it, like you can't really look at it yourself. It's like you can't read the instructions if you're inside the shampoo bottle, like you can't see it from outside. So I think that that's a really important piece. Plus you just don't know what you don't know yet. So I've learned a lot, even things that don't really apply to me in my business, because it's just not applicable for me personally. Like I've actually just learned a lot generally about business and sales, and that's been really cool too. Can just kind of better inform you about things to do in the future or things to be aware of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's really amazing advice as well. I like the analogy about the shampoo bottle. It's 100% true. I'm curious to know, I mean, you've come such a long way. What are your goals now that we're 2 weeks away from the new year? What are your goals for the upcoming year and next few months?
I want everybody to pay who said they're going to pay. I always have this joke that people like to say, promise they're going to pay me and not pay me. I want to make sure that we're at that 30K in 2 weeks. But for 2020, we have a couple different tiers of service. We've just been going after this like middle tier of service offerings. So we want to start breaking into the higher tier of service offerings. So going after basically higher figure coaches in our niche to get them in bigger service packages. So that's a big goal, just to kind of bring those in. And we're going to be doing more, like public speaking and, branding and, kind of positioning with video content. And that's a big thing. And then we're just doing a lot of collaborations and partnerships with other businesses and agencies, like a PR agency we're partnering with, that lead generation agency, just looking for like cool opportunities for the next year to grow, and just see where it leads us for the next year.
That's amazing, because basically you've gone from freelancing in August around that point, and now you've taken it to a full-blown marketing agency where you're doing all these things, you're outreaching, you're building your brands, and you're fully scaling this thing out. So that's incredible to see that progress, especially since also you're a mom, you're essentially balancing your family life with your business. And it's incredible to see. It's super inspirational. And I think that it'll touch a lot of people that are watching this. So really excited to have you here. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about, or any parting words of wisdom that you'd like to leave with us?
Oh yeah, I think there's a lot I think, okay, so I said, like before, like digital marketing is saturated, but what I mean by that is it's not saturated for everybody. I think there's a room for everybody, and I think there's a lot of different niches and a lot of different specialties people can like pick up. And I think that there's a lot of really interesting people out there doing a lot of really interesting things with digital marketing. And I think that this upcoming in 2020, I think it's going to be a lot about relationship marketing, which Robb teaches about, and making connections and talking to people. And I think that now is really the time to set yourself up for success for the new year, because it's going to get more and more, it's going to get more and more complicated. You know what I mean? Like we're going to have more happening. So you might as well like start setting it up now so that you can like actually start turning in clients, and find a mentor that can help you do it. And you should join Art of Sales. Or an agency in a box.
Yeah, we have some big things coming for next year as well. We're going to improve the accountability. There's a lot of things that we have planned that we've been talking about in the team meetings. So excited to.
Are you going to Miami?
What's that?
You going to Miami?
I believe so. That's going to be in March, the mastermind. Really excited for that too. So
yeah, I'm booking flights, so I will see.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely, you have a lot of things going on in Miami, but this is definitely a priority for me. So
you'll be living there next.
Yeah, possibly. We'll see. Awesome, Kate. Super happy to have you here. And finally we got to connect, and really happy to hear about your progress and all of the advice and wisdom that you've imparted upon me and everyone else that's watching this. So thank you so much for joining.
Great. Thanks for having me.